Okay guys, just a quick BTC update. I've been marking the structure from the highs as we went down. So basically this was the first leg down. This was our second leg, and I've marked this as a point or a lower high, seeing as liquidity was taken at a pullback. So this was the pullback here, and price took the liquidity there as well as there before breaking structure here and heading down to this point. Now when we get to this point here, I've marked it as a low, and it will remain a low until we break it, right? But it's not confirmed. So it's not confirmed that this is a higher a lower low here. Now we had a pullback to the top side here, which broke structure here. So I'm going to use this for now as the lower low, and until we break structure down here, this is not confirmed as a lower high, which means if we do not move to the downside and break this, that means we need to break this level and then break down, which would give us this as the lower high, and this here is sort of our structure before heading down, right? So for now, mark this as the lower low. We broke a previous pullback level there. This is not confirmed as the lower high yet, since we didn't break below this, and now we're looking for either a break below to confirm this as the lower high, or a move back above it to take it out and then move down, which creates the liquidity that we need to mark the structure off, right? Now on the slightly lower time frame, I'm just going to drill down here from the top of this move to the bottom. Let's just make this a bit smaller and push it in. We had a move down here that changed character and broke structure, right? So change of character, break of structure. I think this would be the true break of structure here at this level. And we had this move down here, and I've marked this entire leg as one, even though it's a three sort of legged structure. None of these pullbacks here have sort of taken any previous pullback high liquidity, right? So I've marked that off as one structure until we came to this point here. Once we got this move up, we broke structure here and here, and then we broke below here. So another break of structure confirms this as a low and this as a high. So we have a lower low and a lower high, and we are at this point here where we have, or we had, let's just mark this properly, this move up here, which took pullback liquidity in this area before making a lower low here last week. So it confirms this as a lower low, this as a lower high, and another lower low. Now I've marked this off here as a lower low, and this here as so far as a lower high, right? But this lower high isn't confirmed until we either until we break below here. This is not confirmed as a lower high, which means BTC can easily take the level here and then roll over, or this leg up here started something new, seeing as we didn't make a lower low and then we head up much higher. When we come down to the even lower time frames, right, I've marked this off as a leg down since it took some pullback, some liquidity here. This as the lower high here, since it took liquidity above a previous pullback of this leg down. we broke structure here, we pulled back here, which took liquidity here, so this is confirmed as a lower low once we broke here. This confirmed as a lower high down here. So the yellow points are all your points of your market structure, right? Until this point. So once we shot up here, we changed character there and we broke structure here. This was today, right? Which means this here is resolved for the most part of it. It also means that we need to be longing any pullbacks that occur, and we're going to go into a few scenarios of where these pullbacks can be. If we look at the, let's go down to a 30-minute, and we're going to see a lot more information here now. Right, so we had the move up here, and I've marked off an H1 fair value gap here, which we had here. So we had some sell inefficiency, buy imbalance, or sell imbalance, buy inefficiency here, and then on the way up, buy side imbalance, sell side inefficiency. But this was a fair value gap in here. Price bounced off of that, and you see the candle bodies closed at the optimal trade entry, which is basically the 70.5 of this entire move up. So H1 fair value gap, optimal trade entry, let's go. We had our weekly open here, which we are above now. This was an inducement level and had liquidity here, and in my Discord group I said watch the move come up to take this 30-minute fair value gap here. And at this point we could have made another lower high here and then rolled over. That was one of the scenarios. And the weekend came and BTC started to move sideways, right? It moved sideways like this, and this was an expected move here because I've marked off a 30-minute fair value gap in here, which took the liquidity here. So we had some accumulation here, a manipulation here, and then distribution upward. So it took the liquidity it needed to move upward, and now we are looking at levels above us. Once we broke above this orange circle here, we broke structure, right? Because you can remember structure was doing this now, right? Lower highs and lower lows, and we broke above it here. So now we have a higher high, technically, and we are looking for a lower high at some point. Now we have I think this is an H1, let's just double check that. Yeah, so H1 order block, which we are in currently. Within the H1 order block, we have the H1 fair value gap, which I've marked in here. We had a naked point of control and a previous value area high. And on top of that, we have a 30-minute fair value gap, right? So there's a chance that we do react off these levels lower, but we would need to see some exhaustion happen here, something like that, head down and then head lower. And most likely, if that does happen in this range here, so we have something like this, create some structure here, we make a high on Tuesday, and then we head lower. And when we head lower, where are we going to look for? If we head lower from this exact point or this exact point in Tuesday, within this, I'm going to look for orders below this level here at the inducement. So this created liquidity here, sort of relative equal lows here. So this is an inducement level. There's liquidity lying before it, just as this here was relative equal highs, and there was money above it. Price took the liquidity here, and we are now looking either for exhaustion or continuation upward. Now I'm just going to take these off since we're done with this level here. We hit that level. I'm going to take off the H1. I'll leave the H1 fair value gap because there's a chance that as we come back down in here that we're going to reject back off the H1 fair value gap and head lower. And when we head lower, we are going to head look for this, right? So we've marked off the tops here, and this would be the move that we would look for, right? Price moved up like this, ran the level, broke structure. So we are going to look for a move like this, back down to this area here, even as low as this order block here. I'm going to mark it off now. As low as that, but nothing lower than this level. We don't want to be going lower than this level because that would create a lower low. So ideally I would like to take buys just below the inducement level, which is below here. Sorry, one second. Below this level and around this level here. And most likely what's going to happen is we may see that on around Tuesday. If you look at the previous week, we had Monday's low here. We had a rally up which created Monday's high. We had Monday creating trendline liquidity here into Tuesday. Price spiked up, putting in the high of the week on Tuesday, and started to move down. Now Wednesday and Thursday are most likely reversal days in terms of a bearish move. Sometimes Friday. In this case it was Friday. Price then reversed, and now we're looking at where will price most likely go to, right? So with the weekly open today, we could see price make a false move to the downside and then head up into Monday and Tuesday, and then fall back down into this level here Tuesday into Wednesday, maybe Thursday. That's what we're looking for. That's one of the moves. Once we get that, now we need to be targeting some point on the upside. Let's go to a H4 quickly. Points on the upside. We are going to look at the daily fair value gap within this region here. So anything above here is all liquidity in this region here of the daily fair value gap, right? There's a very high chance if we go up here and don't roll over and make a lower low, which would make this our lower high and now this a lower low, that if we don't roll over there, that this level here is not safe. These highs are not safe here, which could see BTC, since we made a low here, and this higher low is not confirmed. This higher low is not confirmed since we didn't break through here, that it's still in play that BTC could head up higher. And all it has to do, if you look at previous examples, here for example, right? We had a move up here which pulled back liquidity here. Price did this, failed to make a lower low there, shot up, takes the liquidity above it into a point of interest, and then we headed lower there, right? So if we don't roll over from the fair value gap here, then this is most likely to be taken out. Just a wick above it would be enough before we roll over, which would give us some sort of flat kind of structure, right? And this could head as high as the base here, or in that level there. So that's something we need to look at for BTC if it doesn't, because the liquidity is, the drawn liquidity is here, right? If we take this, it's a lower low, then we can head higher here, take this, make this a lower high, and then even head down lower. But if we don't take this here, then we need to find liquidity somewhere else, because this isn't confirmed as a lower high, and price could very well head above there. So failure to head lower means that this level is not safe, and this will be taken before heading lower. That makes sense, right? So this is not confirmed as a lower high. I'm going to repeat myself, not a lower high until we break below here, which leaves it open. Now BTC has filled in a void here, if you can see, which basically leaves the fair value gap here. Now previously in my one of my previous videos, we looked at this being some sort of neutral triangle where we had an A, a B, a C, a D, and this was part of some E wave, right? Where price did something like that, gave us a flat type structure, and then rolled over. And the E wave would either have to be 100% of the A wave or 61.8% of the A wave. So if we put that there, that was about 100%, almost 100% there. Or 65% would put us in here, right? At the daily fair value gap. So those are points of interest for me that I'd like to see hit in here and roll over. Or if we roll over first, then these levels would become inducement levels, and price would then come back to take them, even up here. If it takes this, this would be a break of structure. So if it rolls over here, so I'd say here, this would be the inducement level. All of these would be inducement levels. Whatever happens here up to here, anything above this, if we break down here first, would be a break of structure, and then we would look for any sort of pullbacks back into here to take BTC higher. Right, so that's the higher time frame structure that we're looking at. Let's just pop down to the 30-minute here quickly. Technically this is a scalp short idea here. We are in a bearish order block. We've got the 30-minute fair value gap here. We've got a previous naked point of control, a value area high. I haven't checked this out yet. Let's just see what the pullback on this is. Above the 79, probably around the 88%. So that's pushing the limits there, but this is sort of a scalp short area, but I wouldn't do that right now until we start to see a break of structure. So eyes on a potential pullback here into this level, and then a move up into Tuesday, creating a high, and then head lower. Now let's use a few other tools really quickly to see where the potential pullbacks from tomorrow into Monday could be. This is a daily VWAP. This is the weekly VWAP, and this is a rolling VWAP. So we're going to use all of this. Let's just switch off the daily VWAP for now. So you can see that last week on Thursday we rejected off the point of control of the weekly developing VWAP, price pulled back lower. It kept us this entire weekend here until we took the liquidity here and then broke through it. We broke through the value area high of the developing VWAP as well, weekly VWAP, as well as the 30-day rolling. Now, if we were to come back and retest any particular area, I'd look to long around the point of control of the developing weekly VWAP, which means a scalp short here needs to be until at least this level, which fills the void in here, and then we can look at price moving into here into Tuesday. So pullbacks into the a rounded sort of pullback into the point of control, and we'd look to take another scalp long into Tuesday and then head down lower. The only other scenario I can think of if this gets a bit more bullish, and I'll end it there, is if we start to head up higher to this level. Just give me a second. If we start to head up higher to this level at 20.4, it means that we've broken structure again here. So we had a move up. I'm going to turn this VWAP off. We had a pullback, a break of structure here, which leaves this as a big inducement level and something that can be taken here. Just has to be wicked into before price continues, right? So if we don't head down lower to our levels here, eventually on Tuesday, from Tuesday down into Thursday at 18.8, we'll look to long. If we head up higher to 20.4, sorry, then I'd look at the 18.8 level as a level of inducement. Price comes to take it, and then we head up higher. But if that happens, we're going to most likely head up much higher, because what it does give you is sort of a head and shoulders, inverse head and shoulders pattern, and a 1:1 extension or projection puts us just above this high here. Right, so let's just have a look at that kind of move up on a 4-hour. Puts us above this high, which would be liquidity engineering in its own, because this was a pullback here. We made a lower low here. Price comes in and takes this, and it could roll over here. From here, you even got a bigger sort of inverse head and shoulders pattern here, but I doubt we get that deeper pullback and then go up there. So we're looking at this kind of flat structure and then roll over, provided that we don't head to new lows here. These levels should be safe here. Right, recap before I end. Provided that we don't make a lower low here, these levels should be safe. If we fail, if we start to hold this area here, we fill in the daily fair value gap, and then we roll over, confirms this as a lower high. Failure to roll over at any point and make a new lower low here leaves this on the table, and price pushing up into this area as high as 28k, right? Before rolling over, obviously. There's a separate video that I will do on that in terms of an Elliott wave count, where this is a 1, this is a 2, this is a 3, we have a 4 here like this, and then we have 5 waves to the downside. But we'll talk about that in a separate video. This is not an Elliott wave video. We'll talk about that and the extensions and deductions from the fibs and wave theory for this. Okay, that's about it. I'll post this on YouTube now, and you guys can take a look at that. I will update this in my Discord if there are any new levels to look at. So basically we reversed whatever happened this entire week, right? So we had the weekly open. Basically this is how it turned out. We had the weekly open, we had a push below, we had a high, price went down, made a low for the week, and now we back above here and about to close there for the week, if not make a slightly higher high. So that leaves the weekly candle looking pretty crazy. Right, you can see that long wick to the downside, and we are back above the weekly open there. Right, so unsure where the week would take us. It may be a bearish week and we sort of fill the gaps below us before we head higher into next week. But I will be looking at longing around 18.8 just to take a move up higher and look to get into the 21.5 22k area. Right, that's it guys, have a great one.